Frame number 1 underway. This is an encounter between Malvern, aka Maluva from Zimbabwe, versus Caesar Chandiga, aka the Scorpion from Uganda. This is the third matchup of this second edition of the ATA Super 8 African Comp. It's live here in Kenya, in the capital, Nairobi. Venue being Mchana Babin Grill, according to okay, that was close. According to the stats I have here, we have 3 men down, and that would be firstly Ishmael Mtetwa. He lost 9-3 to Gente earlier today. He's the first man out. Game number 2, that was Hussein versus Kelvin. Hussein from Tanzania versus Kelvin from Zambia. Kelvin won that encounter with a final scoreline of 9-6, so he's through to the next round and shall be facing the winner of the first match, that's Gente. That will take place tomorrow. The last matchup before this one, we saw Jeremiah Naidu, aka Ganda Ganda, or the Green Machine from South Africa, facing Brian Kiptalam, aka Lotto, a Kenyan national. They took it to the wire, and Brian grabbed that one. This is the last match of the day, the last of the first round matches. Free shot in the visit for Caesar Chandiga here. This is the first frame. Whoever proceeds here will be playing against Brian tomorrow in the semi-final. Free shot on the visit for Caesar. Good use of his free shot. 5 yellows to go. Shouldn't be too difficult for him as he maps his way forward. Good shooting there from Caesar. He looks very composed, very serious and very hungry for that win. They both do. Both looking very bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. They mean serious business. One at a time. He shoots on 2 yellows remaining here. Will Caesar draw first blood? Good positioning. He's highly likely to clear this one without much trouble. Last yellow is down. He faces the black. Your guess is almost as good as mine. He's likely to pot it. And pot he does. He grabs the first frame. 1-0 in favor of Caesar, the Scorpion. It's a best of 17 frames or a race to 9. Hope you've been enjoying the stream and all the previous games if you've been here earlier with us or you've just joined us. Either way, I hope you're enjoying the viewing experience, enjoying the quality stream, the quality layout of everything, the quality angles, and the quality game being displayed by these players. Frame number 2, Caesar breaks. After winning the lag, Maluva opted to break first. It's alternate breaking, so Maluva will be breaking at all the odd-numbered frames, and Caesar will be breaking at all the even-numbered frames. It's still early days. It's still early Unfortunate there. Unfortunate miss by Caesar. Still open table. I have a feeling Maluva is going to grab the yellows here. That Caesar nearly grasped here in his claws, but did not manage to close the table. Yellows are looking, I think, slightly better than the reds. It's any man's game, really. These two are among the best players we have in Africa. Maluva, one of the finest players to ever come out of Zimbabwe. Caesar, among the finest players ever produced by Uganda. I think we're up for a very good game here. Definitely entertaining. Two very sharp shooters who've worked very hard to make a name for themselves. The last round the last game it is for the first round of the Super 8. Maluva's grabbed the yellows. Table closed. 5 yellows to go. They're looking relatively easy, save for one yellow there. That's kissing onto one of those reds. But I'm sure a cannon is in order. He could easily open that up. He's generally good with his cue control. Cue ball management, I think. Cannon loading, maybe. He could open it up now. Well done. Well done on opening up. However, the eventual position of the cue ball and yellow not so ideal. Fine cut to center, perhaps. I think he's looking at that now, assessing the possibility of potentially putting it at center. I didn't see that coming. It was a good shot. Well, good thought. Execution was off, however. If he had managed to pot that, he may have had a very high chance of recording the first reverse dish here. It's 1-0, Caesar to the good. He attacks on just one problematic ball by the black there. It's a little more difficult than all the other reds, but not impossible. He's making cue ball position for it. No. Position is off. Plan B. Goes for center. There may be corner and he may try that again. Or may save it for last. I think it'll make for an easier pattern. Good shooting. And the way the make pool looks so easy. I'm not actually sure if they find it easy or they find it difficult, but it just looks easy in our eyes. All the same, what a miss. He looks disappointed in himself. I'm surprised. And for players of this level, such a mistake can be ruthlessly punished. Well, Maluva clear. It's any man's game, really. But advantage to Maluva now. 4 yellows on the table. He's focused. He shoots and pots. Two yellows to go for Maluva. Marvin Mukonza, a.k.a. Maluva, a.k.a. Mr. Apples, a.k.a. Python News, has got a couple of nicknames. One of the finest players in Zimbabwe. Down to 1 yellow. It looks like the black goes from where I stand. He should be able to manage it. Small tap on the yellow. Should be good enough. They make position for black. A little too much ball there, I think. Making it a lot difficult for a pot here. Amateurs and average players here would opt for a snooker. But what do the elite players do in such a situation? Let's see. I think he's still going for that cut. Very fine cut. He needs to make sure. It was off. I think snooker may have been... snooker was definitely better. He's left it looking very easy for Caesar here. Advantage back to Caesar. Caesar Chandiga, aka the Scorpion from Uganda. Grab that frame right from under Maluva's nose. Maluva had it, but let go of it in the last moments of the frame. Unfortunate for Maluva and fortunate for Caesar is 2-0. Caesar's taken an early lead. It's a race to 9, and if you've just joined us, welcome. If you've been with us for a while, hope you're enjoying. Awesome experience. Awesome shots. Awesome stream. The vibe is lit here. Lots of fans are crowded around to witness the spectacle, to witness the shots from these two very fine players. They've made big names for themselves. Still very young. Maluva in his early 20s, Caesar in his mid-20s. Maluva actually celebrated his birthday here 3 days ago. They're very young and the future is bright. 2 frames down. Frame number 3 loading with Maluva set to break. I tip him to go for a break and run here. If it's to ensure he does not succumb to any pressure, he breaks and pots. 1 yellow down. Nicely done there on the break. Reds, I think, are looking good. Position of the cue ball, though, it's closed table. If it's to go for the reds, very difficult. Yellows are easier to close table with, but I think reds are easier to make a clearance with. Let's see how the sharpshooter manages this. Saw him shaking his head a little there. He may be thinking what I'm thinking. The sentiments I just shared with you about the reds versus the yellows. That's a very ambitious shot. What is measuring there? I think he's trying to use those 2 yellows to try and pot the other red. Okay, he's gone against it. Executed just in the nick of time. As the timer was about to run out, he played safety. Good shot. Leaving Caesar with an equally difficult position to take off from. Center, though, is plausible. I think the left center pocket there is possible. Okay, maybe he's going for the yellows. He sees a finish, maybe. Okay, Caesar, what was that? I don't know what was going through his mind. Whatever it was not defensive. Did not leave him in a good position. It did not close table either. Advantage back to Maluva. He's carefully studying the table here, mapping his way towards a finish. 1 ball at a time. He's working at it. 5 relatively easy yellows here. But then again, there's no such thing as an easy ball, an easy shot. Each shot needs to be given the amount of care and attention, the same amount as what you would perceive as a difficult shot. I've seen players miss so-called easy shots, all in the name of easy. Very good positioning there, Maluva, for that red that's sandwiched between a couple of Caesar's yellows. I think it goes. It's got a clear path. Okay, he's going for the other ball. Why not the red? I'm pretty certain there's a clear path. He made good white for it, so just go for it. Okay. Well done. He was pretty confident in his cue ball control there. He was confident he could make the position. Maybe it's even better than the position before, where the cubo was before. Okay, he's gone against it. I guess he does not have enough view of that red to go for it. Okay, now it's an obvious path there for him. He's down to the one last red. Let's see how he manipulates the cue ball here for the black. And he fails to make the pot. Cue ball position though was a little off as well for the black. And Caesar is back in business. I think a good shot here would be to snooker. I think Caesar's just carefully studying all his balls to make sure each has a clear path to at least one pocket. He may attack. He's very confident in his attack, and it looks like attack it is. While playing safety? Yeah. A good balance of attack and safety there. On to those next two yellows. One is going to center, the other one's obviously going to the corner. And he cruises on. Three yellows remaining for the Scorpion. What a shot. How's that for cue ball management? I think he's going to go for the pot. Lesser players would not. They would snooker. And just like that, he's down to one. Easy. Okay, let me avoid the word easy. Easy ball. And then the black, as he looks to record 3-0 on the scoreboard. 3-0 it is. Still in favor of the Scorpion. He's cruising on nicely. He's looking comfortable, calm. So is Maluva. I think he's not letting the pressure get to him at all. Well, it's not pressure unless you're not prepared. It's a little one-sided at the minute. Too many mistakes from Maluva. And Caesar is punishing Maluva for them. But I'm watching some very entertaining pool here. Good value for time and money. A large crowd gathered here at Mchana Pub and Grill to witness the action in person. It's happening. It's on. Frame number 4. Caesar set to break. Frame number 5 with a very unfortunate dry break from Maluva. It can be very costly. Caesar spoilt for choice here between the reds and the yellows. Very reds it is for him. Very good position there for a cannon to open up the one troublesome red, and it's open. He cruises on. His game looking a little easier now after the great cannon. Will he record a red apple? I'm sure he didn't mean for that red to move so much. I see him pausing a little and looking and measuring there. The red in front of the black now is a little more difficult to pot. He's taking his time to think. Perfection takes time, so he does need to take his time. With 20 seconds remaining on the clock, he's ready to execute. He can pot that. Good position for a fine cut. And pot he does. Gentle strokes that do the job and making it look so easy in the process. I think he's about to record a reverse run here. Let's see how he manipulates his cue ball to position for the black. Oh, very well played. Did you hear that loud thud as the red dropped into the pocket? Well done. A clean finish from the Scorpion. He cruises on. This is the most one-sided affair I've seen today. There has not been a 5-0 scoreline from all the other matches we watched.
A very good evening, dear viewers, once again. Welcome to match number 4 out of 4. Today, on this cold Monday evening here at the Mchana Pub and Grill in Nairobi, arguably the more exciting match on paper of the day. It is the last match of the first round, which is the round of first 8 in the winners in the first life bracket, because this event of the Advanced Talent Agency is double elimination format. Zimbabwe's finest player, Malvern Malova, is trailing 5-0 against Uganda's finest player in Caesar Chandiga in a race to 9 for a place in the winners bracket semi-final. An unexplainably huge mountain that Malova has to climb, not only because he is trailing, but also because of the known abilities of the guy against whom he is playing. A very necessary timeout, a forced timeout, you would say, because these players will be expected normally to have timeout after 10 frames played, but Malva went for his timeout after only 5 frames played, and he had lost them all. And from the timeout, it seems that 5 minutes timeout has paid off, because Malvern has gotten from the timeout and made the single visit clearance of his yellow frame to win a first for himself in the match, which is also the first for Zimbabwe. It is Malova now 1 and Caesar 5. A relatively calm Mchana Pub and Grill audience. Their biggest excitement today was when Brian Kiptalam was shocking one of the World Beat Tournament favorites in Jeremiah Naido. 9-8. Biggest win for the young Kenyan, in my opinion, in his entire career. Not because it was having a big cash prize. It is only a first round of an event, but in an international comp and taking down a player of Jerry's stature, Lotto had never gotten a result like that. For now, Caesar is having the benefit of a dry break from Malova, and yet Caesar also fails to close the table right from the break, leaving himself an open table for Malova to try and close this frame, which has no colors of balls so well split in comparison to the other. Both of the players are donning the same colors of the ATA dubbed the ATA Africa Super 8-Man Comp. This competition is only in its second edition. The promise of the Advanced Talent Agency is that this competition shall be ongoing once every month. So for now, the promise is being walked the talk. First edition was in Kampala in Uganda. It was won by that guy who has just played. This is the second edition in the country that neighbors Uganda to the east. That is Kenya. Third edition, your guess is as good as mine. And these two players are 2 of 3 players that in this competition that participated in the very first. The other is Jerry. Other 5 that are involved are all participating in this invitation tournament only for the first time. That includes Ishmael Mtetwa, that includes Abdallah Hussein, that includes Sanford Griven Jinte, that includes Kelvin Fikoti, that includes Brian Kiptalam Lotto. The idea was to have one player represent each country of invitation, and the preferred player representing South Africa was Ishmael Mtetwa, but because of demand from you, the fans, Jerry was included on the last hour. He's the guy that came third in the Grand Mchana Open Championship, while Brian Kiptalam Lotto was the player that won the Shujaa wa Kenya the equivalent of Grand Mchana, but only for Kenyan players. The look on Caesar's face is a guy that did not win anything in the Grand Mchana Open Championship, and yet you are looking at the guy that won the event in totality. Plays as if he is still hungry for more, and that can only be worrying for his opponents for now, for Maluva. On to reds now. The black, which it is so close to the cushion. Contemplating a move here. Pot simply by rolling, white ball bouncing off the cushion, moving towards the midpoint of the table, which he does. As long as he was able to avoid any contact between white and any of Maluva's yellows, he was always going to play his way all the way to the black, which he will be playing and potting to the corner pocket. On the top right of your screen, it is now Caesar 6 and Maluva 1. Thank you, Richard, for appreciating the Advanced Talent Agency for this stream, which you are calling real value for your money. The one you are calling this one a landing curve for Maluva. By the way, the other matches between Caesar and Maluva that have both happened this year have been way closer than this. I do remember a money match that happened at Dice Lounge in Kampala, when Maluva made his first tour of Uganda. A race to 21 it was. Maluva got himself to 11 with Caesar at 8, and then 12-12 at some point in the game, and then the last 9 frames went all the way of Caesar, when it was seeming that Maluva couldn't handle a long race. He of course did make the second return to Uganda to participate in the first edition of the Africa Super 8 competition of the ATA. I remember him winning his first round bout against Tanzania's Saif Hamad. He faced Caesar in the semi-finals in a race to 16, and Caesar won that match 16-11. This year alone, this is the third time that the two players are facing off, with the results from the first two matches ending the way of the Ugandan. After this ongoing match, these players will have a well-deserved rest, and then the tournament will resume tomorrow with 6 more matches, some in the losers category, some in the winners. But first action will be between players in the losers category, where the likes of Abdallah Hussein, the likes of Jeremiah Naido, the likes of Ishmael Mtetwa are fighting out. Also, the likes of whoever of these two players loses this match, while the winner will advance to the winners category in the tournament of the Advanced Talent Agency, where there are likes of Brian Kiptalam, the likes of Kelvin Nkandu Fikoti, and the likes of Stanford Griven Gente. Watch out for that action tomorrow, but also watch out for Caesar trying to win a 7th for himself, only in 8 frames, clearly and distantly the better player so far in this match. And for the first time gets a round of applause from the Kenyan fans. It is Caesar now 7 and Maluva 1, meaning that Caesar needs 4 while Maluva needs 8 out of the remaining 11 frames. And the umpire is Dennis Otieno, an umpire with the Kenya Billiards Federation. He looks like Ugandan, I have to say. Having a Ugandan name, of course, is lower. While Maluva is proudly Zimbabwean Shona. Rhodes, you're asking who is playing after this. It will be the losers bracket first, but only resuming tomorrow, as both the players, officials, and of course the videography team shall be having their well-deserved rest. As the tournament progresses, it will be more entertainment and even more pressure. Only 8 players, but double elimination. You have to be eliminated twice to exit the tournament entirely. All 8 are still in, but the 3 that have lost once so far are having 1 life in this competition. Special thanks to all who are doing all that it takes to ensure that these videos come to you in a crystal clear quality. Enoch Bamwine, producer of the entire show, and Rogers, the guy who is always drinking cappuccino, even when there is no need to. Opio Paul Akelo, doing much of the shoddy work. And of course, the directors of the ATA, who are probably watching these videos now, or better still, they will watch replays if the schedule doesn't allow. Malvern Makonza of the Chitungwiza team, Tigers in Harare, who did have a very good first coming to Kenya last year when he came fourth in the Grand Mchana Open Championship. His second coming has not been exactly good, losing out in the round of last 64 in the Grand Mchana Open Championship. Even his recent performances haven't been that good. Even at the Billiards Cafe Double Elimination Classic, didn't go past the round of last 32. Lost out to Malawi's Stanford Griven Jinte. His only performances of late came in the Super 8 comp and the second tour of Uganda. But in his second coming to Kenya, he has won himself a second frame out of now 9. And it is Caesar 7, while Maluva is on 2. I really do appreciate now the level of play of both players, most especially after the time break. Before then, Caesar was a little bit too much for Maluva. Now the match is a little bit more balanced. Maybe Maluva could have the first 5 frames he did lose in quick succession to fault himself if this result doesn't go his way. These 2 players, in my opinion, are 2 of the 5 most popular players on the African continent who draw the biggest numbers every time their matches are streamed live. But also very well disciplined on and off the table. Also very good friends in real life, by the way. But on the table, that doesn't count at all. Caesar going for the reds. Is Snooker finds one of the reds, but only finds it after going for power. Special thanks to all those of you who are subscribing to the ATA platform, subscribing daily, weekly, monthly, annually, to enjoy the action of these players in support of the ATA, which indirectly is in support of these players, because a competition like this one has 0 registration fees for the 8 and it's $3,500 US, and non-cash prizes like trophies and medals for the top 3. That can only be made possible if you keep subscribing and subscribing and subscribing. I'm not so sure this is exactly what Malvern wanted, although the resulting white ball well seems to be contemplating a move, Malvern. If he can sink in 1 yellow out of these 7, actually a red, he does play a safety shot. Thank you for watching. Joel supporting Caesar. You think this one is a great stream? It has been that kind of year for both of these players. Mixed fortunes between the two. Malvern is on the verge of losing his #1 ranking position by the National Elite Players Association of Zimbabwe, NEPAZ. He's about to lose it to Eshka, because those competitions are the ones that are used by the association to rank the players, and most of the competitions in Zimbabwe this year have been won by a certain Mr. Eshka Chimbwanda, who is on the verge of becoming Zimbabwe's #1 player, although many still value Malvern as the unofficial Zim #1. And while Caesar is also just on the verge of losing his #1 ranking position by the Pool Association of Uganda, PAU, to a certain Mr. Joseph Kasozi, the guy that has amassed the biggest number of ranking points. And please be reminded that those points are only in tournaments organized by the association. And it's their events only on which they base their rankings. Although, of course, in the public eye, irrespective, it is this guy that is seen as Uganda's #1. So it is #1 versus #1. This is pretty much Zimbabwe versus Uganda. The best that those two countries have to offer of recent, facing off in the third time in the space of just about 4 months. First 2 times being won by Caesar in a money match and a tournament respectively in Uganda, this time in a neutral venue. And yet it is the Ugandan Scorpion that is still on the verge of victory. I'm not so sure there is passage of that red ball to that corner pocket where there is the black of that yellow ball I was meaning. Seems my camera angle was deceptive. What is not deceptive is the fact that Caesar is winning for himself. Frame number 8 in this one. Out of 10, Caesar will be voting that black ball to the corner pocket in the top left. It is now Caesar 8 and Malvern 2. So far, this one could be the second biggest thumping if Caesar continues this match in its current vein of form. After the first thumping was between Gente and Ishmael, where Gente thumped Ishmael 9-3. Caesar now needs one and only one, while Malvern needs 6. Just imagine it that way. 6 frames to go, while one of them needs 1 and the other needs all. Golden Voice, do you think realistically that Malvern stands a chance?
You know what they say, nothing is impossible. It's not over till the last whistle blows. It's a very difficult, a tall feat, very tall order here. But a possible comeback can happen.
I just wish he was listening to you, Malvern, because those are really encouraging words, especially when the going is getting tough. What are his chances should he lose this match? Dropping to the losers bracket where the likes of Jerry are, the likes of Ishmael are. You see, players like that, the likes of, who is the other player? It's actually, what do you think his chances are if Malvern loses this match?
Well, he won't be lonely in that group.
Yes.
There's already Jeremiah.
He has company.
Gente, yeah, there's company there. So it's not a lonely place to be if he loses. However, he hasn't lost yet. And who says he will lose? A comeback is possible, Peter. Never say never. Anything can happen. And he's queuing really well. Look at the layout of the balls right now. I think as far as this frame is concerned, I think he got this. I think he's got this frame.
A comeback is mathematically possible. It means winning 6 frames in a row, but winning 6 against Caesar, when your opponent needs just one chance to make a clearance and then win the match itself, that is where my worry is for Malvern. Not just that the opponent needs one frame, but also that the opponent is Caesar anyway. But you can take us through this frame, Priscilla. It is yours, girl. Go, take it away.
It's mine. Like, this frame is Malvern's, I think. That's my prediction. This frame is Malvern's frame. Look at that. How's that for some good long-range putting? Good positioning as well. I think there he'll play a good cannon. Good position for a cannon there. Potting center, developing the other yellow. And is well on his way to a finish, I think.
I do think and for any neutral fan, you just want Malvern to win a frame and another to put the scoreline more respectable and maybe increase the chance of having this game maybe go down to the wire or something.
Yes, I do not like one-sided encounters. Yeah. That is never ideal. And it's not as entertaining and nail-biting as those blow-for-blow kind of frames.
Nobody does.
Yeah, I'd be keen to see Malvern here engaging a handbrake. It's very possible. He's got 3 yellows remaining here. Some good potting there. Very careful. Allow me to call this prematurely.
And allow me to join you in calling this one, eh?
Yeah. What's the scoreline now? You call it? Prematurely?
Scoreline is not good for the ears, eh? Especially the ears of any Zim.
No, we're calling it prematurely. It's 8-3.
8-3, okay. 8-3. I had forgotten that I did call it, eh? But the call was inspired only by you.
I mean, look at it. It's easy enough for him, for a player of his caliber. He shouldn't mess this up. How's that for some cue ball control? If it were you, you'd have snookered yourself. But this is Malvern. He's got this. The black is down surely.
I will take that as violence. Nonetheless, the Zimbabwean Express pulls a third back. It is Caesar 8 and Malvern 3.
He needs 6. What are the odds of him managing 6 straight frames against Caesar?
Frankly speaking, they are so low. The only time that I have seen Caesar lose so many frames in succession at the end of a match, they were actually 5, and it was against Aiden, his first money match against the South African in Kampala Caesar led 20-16, and then it was 4 clearances by Eden with 1 visit of the table. Then a very long frame, number 41, which went the way of Eden after that. A long haul, and it's the first and only time that I have ever seen Caesar crying.
I would cry too if that happened to me. That would be a very painful defeat. 8-3 it is here. I think the chances are there. What needs to happen if he's to pull a recovery? I think for starters, Caesar may need to break dry.
Yeah?
If Maluva is to have any chance at a recovery, yeah. If he
Just to
doesn't
get-
break dry, then I think Maluva
It
is a
will be
goner.
quite unlikely.
Because what are the odds of a Caesar failing to deliver an apple in the next couple of frames?
Maybe this frame, maybe the second he will be breaking, and the third actually has 3 breaks out of the next frames. And
What do they call this usually? Commentators jinx?
the commentators curse.
I didn't curse him. In my defense, we were just laying out the odds. Hey,
Yeah, it's just
Unfortunately,
fans
it
that
was
call it a
Caesar.
curse from the commentator. You just say something, then it happens the other
actually,
way.
Peter, I think we're wrong. 1 yellow went in.
Yes, it's 1 yellow that went in
Wasn't
the
a dry break.
center pocket on the top of the screen, meaning that it doesn't come as a better opportunity for Caesar to win this frame, which means winning this match. Look at that, closing the table by
Wow, that
putting yellow
shot.
off the red.
Wow.
Very big imagination and execution frame. The Ugandan is because of the confidence that comes by the lead he is having, his own talent as well, and of course whatever happened yesterday for him. Same venue, same table, by the way.
That shot gave me goosebumps. It was massive. I didn't see it coming.
I actually didn't see it coming too.
You're
I
a
was
fish.
I was just trying to imagine what he was contemplating, and then boom, he did that, and he's on the verge seemingly. I'm not so sure that's the exact weight he wanted, but I think he will be okay here. Is this the chance for Malova to try and make a comeback starting with this frame? The fact that the white ball is so close to yellow for Caesar's liking. The umpire will inspect if it is touching, and the umpire Otieno Dennis indeed confirms that the white ball is touching the yellow, and Caesar can only play away from the yellow. And in doing so, he'll be trying to give Malova as difficult a cue ball as possible.
And that he does.
He does, but the fact that Malova has gotten himself chance at least to play, you just think that he has no other choice but to take that chance with 2 hands, not so.
How plausible is a snooker here for Maluva? You see on the left side of the table there?
Yes, it is
Slices
possible.
that red.
Yes, playing the white ball just off the red, bouncing off the cushion. And then the white ball, if I can use the language, hiding it behind the second red. The second red, yes, it is.
Good defense. He
Good
needs
defense,
to.
that one.
And
in that-
Caesar will escape this, I'm sure.
yeah,
The
but
pot
you
is
just,
difficult though. Yeah.
you just think that as long as he doesn't fight, as long as he doesn't pot, even if he finds the yellow, then it will be advantage Malova because he will be having the white all for himself.
Yeah. Escaping the snooker is easy enough. Potting, though, is what is difficult here.
Is another thing altogether.
And
There we
how's
go.
that? I actually almost sent it into the pocket.
You just hope that Malova can make a clearance. Now it is 7 reds. As long as he gets 1 ball to pot, I believe that he will be home and dry with the frame looking this good. No single red ball is so frozen against the cushion. No single dead red ball is dead. Malvern should be taking this one down for himself, for his boss Jaden, for his team. The Tigers for Chitungwiza, for Harare, for Zimbabwe.
Peter, you are a walking, talking encyclopedia. You have so much information stored in your head. How do you do it? Including about my own people. Wow.
Anything that you like, anything that you have passion for, you just find yourself things coming naturally.
Do you know, I was actually waiting for you to mess up there as you started talking about the club, the town, Chitungwiza, and you got it all right. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Sometimes Malova tells me himself, sometimes I do my own research, and then I find myself knowing.
But what is amazing is that you actually remember.
Yeah. He's a very friendly guy, Malvern, by the way. I like him so
Oh,
much.
totally lovable.
He normally
He is.
tells me stuff about himself. Also very disciplined. I like that about him in real life. Very, very disciplined. With very good principles that guide him in his life. He doesn't mess people around. He respects bosses, respects elders, respects the game, and believes his time will come. And indeed, I think it will come. When it will come, I don't know, but I believe it will be pretty soon. He knows that he has it within himself to take down players like Caesar, but he also knows that when his time comes, then it will always be a formality.
Well,
For me,
skill and discipline
Yeah.
is the recipe for a good sportsman.
Maluva, players like Jinte, those are the guys who,
That's another one.
in my opinion, who will dominate African pool. Maybe 3 years to come, they will be almost untouchable.
There's a lot of upcoming talent as well.
Yeah, and from all countries, by the way.
Oh, true. Yeah, true. Looks like Maluva here is well on his way to clearance. Shall we call it prematurely here again? Looks easy
You
enough.
have every reason to call it prematurely.
Okay, and with Peter's permission, I pronounce it 8-4. 8-4 it is,
Yes.
according to myself, with Peter's permission.
You can never ever miss from this kind of range.
He's fighting hard.
Yes. A fourth for Maluva against 8 for Caesar in a race to 9. Now, 5 frames to go. Malvern needs them all.
He's fighting hard. He really has to put up a very, very big fight here. Fighting harder than a one-legged man in a kicking contest. Very difficult to achieve, but very possible.
And our good umpire Dennis Otieno grants him another 3-minute timeout simply to freshen up and then come back in the mode to win 5 frames in a row against Caesar. And we're just waiting to see that if it can even happen at all.
But generally, I think it is not advisable. That's what I think. It is not advisable to take a timeout when you've
When you're in the mode,
yeah, picked up tempo like this. He's recovering. He's queuing well now, better than earlier frames, I believe.
Yes.
And I hope this downtime won't dampen him a little.
Actually, from the first time out, I do remember Caesar was having 5 and Malvern was having nil. Since then, Malvern has been winning more than Caesar. So when your momentum is high, just keep shooting. It was Caesar who needed that timeout anyway. Maybe it was for a very, very genuine reason, biological or so.
But looking at the direction Maluva went in, I think nature was calling, so he had to
Alright.
respond.
I get it.
And he's back.
We're having him putting a ball on the break. We're having him having a very good split of the balls. There's no single bad red ball, no single bad red yellow. Chance presents itself again for Malvern to win a 3rd in a row for the first time in the match at the business end of this match, which is the last of the day, by the way.
There's a little voice in my head right now saying apple. Let's see. I don't know why the voice in my head is saying apple. It could be right.
Why not? When the guy that is queuing is Mr. Apple himself.
Oh, that shot made me kind of nervous.
And nervous for the right reason. I think he was so cautious about the white ball. And for the right reason, again, to be cautious, because if he had moved just a little, just 1 more millimeter leftwards, he would be potting the white ball.
I think that ball didn't actually drop because of where the cue ball was there and his fear of scratching.
And now if you look at Caesar's own yellow frame, Malvern, I think, can only bank on that yellow ball near the corner pocket on the top of the screen, which is right behind Malvern's red, for any hope, in my opinion, of playing in this frame again. Of course, even the black ball. Difficult frame it is for Caesar, but you never know. A very crucial shot to this one for Caesar, but also crucial in a way for Maluva. Be wary of that yellow ball near now, the top of your screen on the right. Seems Caesar is playing to get white ball for exactly that ball. White ball bounces off the cushion, and I think He now has a good angle to try and put it to the center pocket on the top of your screen. Now I can only think of Caesar now playing the black realistically.
Do you know the ball I keep looking at is the black?
It's the black for now.
A bank shot, maybe?
For the black, maybe he's opening it up, drawing the white ball backwards. Look at this. He has moved the white ball the entire length of the table. I think he's going for a roll of that black ball to the corner pocket where he's just spotted his last yellow. For as long as he can pot this black, then Malvern could easily have played his last match or last shot of the match. Look at that.
Well done to Caesar. Congratulations, Caesar Chandiga. Tough luck to Marvin Mukonza. Caesar proceeds to the next round, where he shall face Brian Kiptalam, aka Lotto, the Kenyan national. It's been a good round for these players today. Very entertaining, Paul Peter.
Yes, the fight was good from Malvern, most especially after that first time out, but it was always worrying that he could have his first 5 frames that he lost all coming to haunt him. Thank you, dear subscribers of the ATA platform, for subscribing and watching, in a way promoting the talents of these guys, this time financially, not just in terms of moral support. Keep your fingers crossed tomorrow for the first matches in the losers category. Tanzania versus South Africa, it will be Ishmael Mtetwa taking on Abdallah Hussein first, the early hours of the afternoon. And then Malvern Mukonza taking on Jeremiah Naido from South Africa and Zimbabwe respectively. Second time this year that the two players will be facing off. First time was the Super 8 competition that was in Kampala. It was a third place match and it went all the way to the decider that Jerry won by break and finish.